I'm Two Turtle Tom, welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to talk about this tortoise and why it has caused so much confusion. This is a Bell's Hingeback tortoise. It was imported from Kenya and sold under the name Speke's Hingeback. But I can guarantee you this is most definitely not a Speke's Hingeback. But why? The Bell's Hingebacks have very, very dark heads and very highly domed shells. Once we take a look at the real Speke's Hingeback, you will understand that this looks nothing like those animals. But why in the world would it be called a Speke's Hingeback? Well, that's because the Bell's Hingeback is no longer able to be imported into the US. And while at first, back in the year 2000, maybe it was a mistake and we truly thought these were Speke's Hingebacks, they continue to be imported under the name Speke's Hingebacks, even though we know these are truly Bell's Hingebacks. And unfortunately, most of these guys died. I had 3, and this is the only one that survives. They're quite hard to take care of, but once we figured it out that they don't really like high temperatures, we're talking upper 70s, maybe lower 80s, that's the temps where they thrive. And that's very, very different from the Speke's Hingebacks. Now we think these guys were farm raised. Why is that? Because they're all about 4 inches. And you can't legally import a tortoise underneath 4 inches into this country. So they're all about the same size. That is why we believe that they are farm raised. Occasionally, underground reptiles will get in a few animals that are much bigger that they sell as the Northern Zombensis Hingeback. But those are just older Bell's Hingebacks. You can see there are some very light markings starting to form between the scutes. Those older animals do get to be a bit more like the Zombensis Hingebacks, but they're selling the same species under 2 different names. The smaller name, the Bell's Hingeback, the larger ones, the Northern Zombensis Hingebacks, but that's just wrong. They're all Bell's Hingebacks. So let's take a look at some real Speke's Hingebacks to see what they really look like. And here we have it, the real Speke's Hingeback. This is a female. Look how elongated and flat the top of the carapace is. I always say that you could put a cup of coffee right on that top. Now this guy's, or girl should I say, is a little pyramided, but a classic Speke's Hingeback. And you can see her head is much lighter in coloration than that other animal I just showed you. A classic female Speke's Hingeback. Now, one thing to know about the Hingebacks is that they're really variable. Males and females can differ quite a lot, and pattern and color of the shell is just really not a good indicator of what species you might have at all. Let's take a look at some more. Here is a male Speke's Hingeback. Again, somewhat pyramided, but you can see how flat and elongated the shell is. It's kind of flattened out when you look at it from the top. And again, much lighter colored head than that Bell's Hingeback. This is what a Speke's Hingeback looks like. Quite different from the true Bells. We've got one more male to take a look at. This is the final tortoise that I'm going to show you today. It is a male. Look at that giant tail. And it's intermediate between the male we showed and the female. Nice elongated carapace, very flat on top, lighter coloration, and a classic male Speke's Hingeback. Can you see the difference? Let's look at the Bells one more time. The true Bell's Hingeback. Charcoal head, very dark, domed carapace. Look how domed the back end of it is, and it's pretty high. This is the Bell's Hingeback. I've had her for 2 years. I caution you, if you do get one from underground reptiles, you might treat it more like a Holmes Hingeback than you do a Speke's Hingeback. They don't seem to like horribly bright light, and they like it cool and very humid. I'm wondering if they live on high mountainous areas in Kenya where they are being exported from. This is my girl. She's growing. You can see that new growth. Can't wait until her shell starts to develop more of that contrasty pattern. I've been lucky with this one. I will be looking for a male most likely. That's the difference. Thanks so much for joining me. Let me know. Have you kept any of these? Do you have one? How did they do for you? I really want to know. For the turtles, we'll see you next time.